So what we're aiming for is we're aiming to create a business that runs without us. So therefore, and excuse my handwriting, but my dad was a doctor, an automatic biz. And how do we know that we have an automatic biz? Is because we can then take that 6 weeks vacation, right? You can do whatever you like with that.
This is the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast for entrepreneurs and business owners looking for cool online tools, apps and strategies to make business easy online. My name is Nick Cree and I'm your host. Each episode features a guest expert demystifying the online universe, sharing inspirational ideas and providing tested real-world strategies to help you get the most of what's available online to grow your business today. Don't be a slave to your business, get your business working for you. Subscribe now and get some great content and ideas for you and your business today. So tonight's topic is all about how you can take a 6-week holiday. Just imagine this. I gave you tickets. Actually, I'm going to let Azim give you tickets to a holiday destination. Let's say it's probably a cruise because it's hard to get internet on a cruise and your mobile phones don't work there. You can't take your computer. And so you've got no phone, no internet, and you've got these tickets which are available for the next 2 hours only. You have only got 2 hours to go and pack your bag and then go and use these tickets to go on a cruise. What would happen to your business if you did that and you're away for 6 weeks? That's what tonight's topic is all about, and how you can leave your business with confidence and know that it's going to be running even better without you than with you there. So for those that don't know Azim, he is known as the Profit Liberator. He has had more than 20 years. Geez, he doesn't look that old, does he? He's had more than 20 years starting and scaling and selling businesses across a whole host of industries. So he's got creative, simple marketing campaigns, and he's got creates internal systems that has really helped his clients to more than double their 7-figure operations. So we're talking about in the millions, not in the thousands, in the millions, 7-figure operations in only 18 months. And to be able to go and take that holiday with no internet attached, I love that. So, in fact, I know this is possible because I've got a good friend of mine who runs a skip bin business. And it was only a few months ago that he was stressed. You know, whenever I saw him, he was always on the phone. These days, the only time I ever see him posting pictures on Facebook is because he's on his jet ski. So he's one of those business owners that's managed to wrangle his business under control. That's what Azim does. That's what he's here to talk to us about tonight. And I know that he's got some pretty cool tools and processes to share with us. So let's give him a big, warm welcome to the show tonight.
Thanks, Nick. That's awesome. And it's true that you were having all those tech problems as well. And we had tech problems not being able to share the iPad. So I've rigged up my overhead camera to show the iPad. And it just reminds me of a great saying that I learned off one of my fighter pilot friends is this: no matter what happens, always look good. Okay, that's the important thing. I mean, you see it at the Olympics, the person falls over, but they still get up and do the grand, the finale thing. So at the end of the day, look, everybody's here to move their business forward in some way, not just to take on more information, because Yahya Bakar says we live in the age of infobesity. There's too much information and not enough implementation. So if you're here to move your business forward, just put a Y in the chat and let's see what we've got there. Okay. All sounds all good. Sounds all good. And is it okay if I just give it to you how it is? No sugar, just facts and ideas. It could get a little bit uncomfortable. Put Y in the chat for that. Yes, please. Okay, all right. And look, are you okay? Thirdly, are you okay that I'm not going to sell you anything today? There's no pitch, there's no scarcity, there's no value ladder, no credit card. Just relax. Is that okay? Okay, go for it. Hey, I will. But there's a caveat on this. And the caveat is this: I'm not going to sell you anything, but I want you to buy into some new ways of thinking. Are you all okay with that? Just whack it in the check there. Okay, awesome. Right. So first of all, congratulations. You're all crazy, right? Because, you know, we'll put finances at the risk and relationships at the risk and health at the risk and mental health at the risk. We'll work over 100 hours a week as entrepreneurs just to avoid working 40 hours for somebody else. So we're all certified crazy. We know that. Okay. So, but imagine what it'd be like to take a 6-week vacation from the operation of your business and have it run and grow in your absence. It does sound too good to be true. And in a way it is. It's actually a bit of a marketing hook, because here's what it's actually about. It's about how to extract yourself from the operation of the business. Some people do want to take that cruise that Nick spoke about, and some people do want to sit on the beach, and that's all fine. But here's the thing is, it's about extracting yourself from the operation so it runs automatically. And I'll go through that in a second without you. But having said that, everybody teaches you how to 10x your business and grow your business and scale your business and do all these wonderful things, but nobody tells you how to get out of it. I don't mean exit it, like sell it, just like step out of it, like do the thing that you love to do. But here's the interesting thing about the 6 weeks. The 6 weeks is real. So put into the chat if you think we'll just do Monday to Friday. Don't worry about the weekends. Put into the chat if you think there's 1 hour in the day that you do something that is A, repetitive, B, really is annoying or you really don't like, or C, potentially wasting time. So just put a Y in the chat. You think there's 1 hour in your day between Monday and Friday that happens. Yep. Okay. So if we take that 1 hour each day for 5 days, 5 times 1 is 5. I think we're all at that level at least. They talk about copywriting, you go to think, but anyway. So we've got 5 hours. So let's take a month off for holidays, whatever you want to celebrate. So that leaves us with 48 weeks. So 48 times 5 is 240 hours, because we've got that 1 hour a day that we're wasting and doing other things with. So it's 240 hours. Now, the average working week for one of our staff members is 40. So 40 into 240 gives you 6. So we've just found, by recouping 1 hour a day, 6 working weeks in a year. Now, the trick really is, how do we take that all at once? Okay. So what I've done is I've developed a model. And so this is going to be interesting because I'm going to use my document cam. So Nick, let me know if this is showing up okay. We should be able to see a triangle with a circle in it. Just put in the chat if you can all see that. Yep. Okay. All good. So what we're aiming for is we're aiming to create a business that runs without us. So therefore, and excuse my handwriting, but my dad was a doctor, an automatic biz. And how do we know that we have an automatic biz? Is because we can then take that 6 weeks vacation, right? You can do whatever you like with that. But I don't like to talk about time. This is not a talk about time management or anything like that, because we can't manage time. It's just going to keep ticking. What we can manage, though, is we can manage our energy. So what I look at in this model that I've developed is we look at 3 levels of energy. We look in a business, we look at revealing energy. And I want you to all think about this in context of your business. And what do I mean by revealing? What I mean is there's 3 sections to it. And one is what. And then we have who. And then where. So when we look at what, we're looking at you personally as a business owner. What are your activities? And how much? What's the volume? And when we're looking at who, we're really looking at the people in your business in terms of what are they doing and why are they doing that? I'm not talking about Simon Sinek's why, I'm just talking about why are they doing that? And then in the where, we're looking at where are we wasting energy in our business and where do we have reserves? Excuse me, appears I have one of Nick's tech gremlins. I think I just solved that. So that's what we've got on the reveal the energy side. Then what we've got is once we've revealed where all this energy is, Then we say, well, how do we recover the energy? Recover energy. And what do I mean by that? Again, three things. One thing is we're looking for isolating, and then we look for integrating, and then the final thing is we look to initiate. And what I mean by that is under isolate, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in a moment, what we're looking for, and I don't like to call them systems within a business, we look for the DNA of repeatability. And that's basically how we do things here. And under integrate, what we're then looking for is we're looking for the right people doing the right things at the right time. And then under initiate, this is really important because we might just have a simple scorecard. So simple scorecard. And what this really is this is the transfer of accountability. From you as the business owner to somebody else in your business, they are now accountable for a number of things. So once we've revealed where the energy is and we've recovered where the energy is, then the last part about it is we've got to redeploy that energy. Redeploy energy. And this is, initially, this is about you, because what we then want to see, again, three things, is we want to look at strategy. And what I mean by strategy is looking above your business. So this is not just, and this is what we're doing right now. So we're looking above the business and we're looking at beyond the business. So Nick mentioned ChatGPT and we're all hearing about it. So, you know, I've heard people saying, well, in 3 years' time, all the coaches, 95% of coaches will be out of a job, right? Well, that's not true because it's not really about the information, it's about the implementation. But anyway, we can talk more about it later. So then the other thing you're looking for is then you're looking, once you're redeploying the energy, is we're looking at strength. And strength is about your health, mentally and physically. Some of us will be on repair, but that's okay. And also the strength of our relationships. Personal, business, relationship with yourself, right? And the last bit here is symmetry. And symmetry is about your proportions of involvement. How much do you want to be involved in the business so that you can be away for 6 weeks? And if you take 6 weeks away and have the business grow, you could be away for 6 months. How many decisions do you make? So that is a model that essentially we just keep repeating over and over, and we keep refining it. And this is the model that I use. And there's little bits and pieces that go with all this. And I'm going to talk about a couple of them in a second. But see, what actually happens is when you've revealed the energy and you're going to then redeploy that energy, well, what you're actually doing there is you're creating pathways. Some people like to call them plans, but I call them pathways, right? So we've got pathways happening here. And if we've revealed the energy and we're going to recover that energy, then what would we have created up here? What we've actually created is potential. What can the business now do without having to take on extra people and all that sort of thing, right? And then down here, once we've recovered this energy and we redeploy the energy, then what we've got is what we're all here for, which is progress. And the truth of the matter is you have to do all three, because if you go straight from revealing, well, we've got some extra capacity there and we go, we could redeploy it over here, and you haven't actually recovered the energy, you'll burn the people out, right? You'll destroy your own business. If you reveal the energy and then you recover it, well, that's great. But if you don't redeploy it down here, well, whoopee, right? You've got extra capacity. But if you just recover the energy or think you're recovering the energy and then redeploy it without actually finding where it all is, then there's bits that you're going to miss out. Right? Does that all make sense to people as a model to look at your business? Just put a Y in the chat if that all makes sense. Right? So what I'm going to do this evening is I'm going to talk a little bit about this part here and give you something that you can do, the what. And I'm going to talk a little bit about isolate here. And Nick on his live talked about systemology, and that's a tool that I use within there, but I'll give you some real context about it. So first of all, let's look at the what, right, in terms of you. And this is the bit I said it's going to become a bit uncomfortable. You could cry, but we're all friends here now, so that's fine. Okay. So one of the things I look at is, let me just share the screen here. Here's an exercise that, well, I won't share the screen. I'll just go as I am at the moment. So let's go back to me. Going back to me now. Oops, sorry about that. Right. There I am. Okay. So this is a list that this is an exercise you can do. I just want you to get yourself a little notebook. Don't do it now. This is for, and take 1 week, Monday to Friday. And every time you change the task you're doing, just put down a bullet point that you change the task. Reading email, taking a phone call, chasing up on accounts, sending out a proposal, whatever it is, right? I don't care how long you spend on it. I just want you to keep a list of those tasks. And then at the end of the week, even as a solopreneur, at the end of the week, create a list, another piece of paper with a line down the middle. And on the left-hand side, look at your list from the week and just put down the things that somebody else could be doing, those things we spoke about before that you may not like doing, or something that you're doing that's repetitive, that comes up more than once. Put those things down on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, put the things that only you can do, only Paul can do, only Roger can do, only Ray can do. Just put down those things on the list. And I'll share a real live list, which I've got permission to share it, from a franchisee in New Zealand. And at the end of the week, just put your thumbs up if you can see the list now. You should be able to see it. Yep. Okay, cool. So at the end of the week, and I love the tea stain on it here, right? But at the end of the week, he had his list there. And basically what he found was stuff that anyone could do would be minor quotes, quote follow-up, daily planning, job allocation. He was like, receiving stock and stocking the shelves and processing. There's 5 people in this organization, right? So, but he's the boss. Following up on overdues and assisting staff on big jobs, right? Then the stuff that only he could do were major quotes, trading partners, vehicles, paying wages, authorizing, paying the bills, budgeting, and all that sort of, and sale demand. So here's the thing. Every time I've done this exercise with people over the last 5 years, it usually comes out the same. A third of your activities during the week are stuff that really only you can do and really needs to be you. And the rest of the stuff, the other 2/3 of what your activities, somebody else could be doing. So here's where it gets frightening. You don't have to put this in the chat, but then write down what your business is, what you hope your business to make over the next financial year. So over the next 12 months. So write that down. And then I want you to divide that number by 2080. So 2080 is essentially 40 hours a week times 52 weeks of the year. Whatever that number comes out to, that dollar figure per hour is what you are accountable for in your business. Nobody else, it's your business. That's the number you're accountable for. Now, if that's a bit scary, so every time you're doing something, that's the responsibility you're shirking, whether it's $500 an hour or $600 an hour or $50 an hour, it doesn't matter. And if you want to be a bit easier on yourself, just pick how much you want to grow your business in revenue next year and say, okay, well, I want to grow by $100,000, divide that by 2080. And for every hour that you don't spend moving the needle forward on growing your business, that is what it's costing you. Okay.
What was that number again to divide?
2080, Paul. So that's where we are with that. Okay. So the interesting thing is everyone just nod or raise your hand. Everyone's heard of the Pareto principle, right? The 80-20 rule. Okay. So here's the thing. Let's go back to Neil's list for a minute, because once you do the 80-20 rule, whoops, where are we? Here we go. Let's go back to where we are. So if we go back to this here, there's about 23 items on the list. Okay. And on the right-hand side here is what he was responsible for. So it roughly starts to come up when you start to look at the 80-20 rule with some of the things you can do. But here's the thing I want you to do is once you figure out what that 20% is, I want you to do the 80-20 again on what's left on the 20. And here's what you'll find. And in most businesses like this, you will find, and this is the scary part, that between about 5 and 10% of everything that you do in a week is actually what's moving the business forward. The other 95% or 90% is just stuff. So when we re-drill down on Neil's list here, we actually found that the only things that he really needed to be doing is working with the trading partners and sale development. So out of 23 things, there was only really 2 things on the list that really required him to do it. What was the end result? They became the first franchisee in 31 years of that. We put all the systems in place, 31 years of the history of that franchise to break $1 million in turnover, and they just fixed windows and doors. So they're happy with me, right? So it was a great result. And they took a month off to go to Brisbane to visit their son and daughter-in-law. So a great result. So that's what we're talking about there. So when I mentioned the DNA of repeatability, so let's speak about that a little bit. So here's an interesting thing. This is at high level. This is about above your business, right? So a successful business has the ability to do things over and over again at a reducing cost and an increasing speed. This is all about repeatability. And if you're going to take away anything tonight, this is what I want you to write down. The purpose of a business, the number one characteristic of any business is repeatability. And, when we talk about systems and structures and staffing and resources, so all these things that no one finds exciting, the stuff that usually causes your eyes to glaze over and your ears to shut down, and your brain to start to twitch, they're actually the sexiest things in business, right? It's just no one understands it. And the reason that they are the sexiest things in business, because they are the heartbeat. They're the drumbeat of the single most important characteristic in your business, and that's repeatability. Remember, the diminishing cost of execution and increasing speed of execution. And yes, systems are sexy. But the 2 most important systems that you have in your business, and most of us don't take enough time for this because most of us may not have team members or only have very few team members and everything's outsourced, is the system for thinking. Yes, there's a system for thinking and the system for influence. The ability to come up and then frame up some really powerful ideas, which are your products and services, in a way that we can execute it. So the system for thinking is not just coming up with the ideas, but it's coming up with the ideas, well, how do we take this to market, right? And the second most important system is the system for influence. The ability to get people to choose in your favor from your customers, to buy from you, staff to work hard from you, suppliers to serve you, and so on and so forth. So here's an aha moment. Every problem in a business boils down to a system that is broken or a system that's not there. And I can challenge that with any business that I've found. You look back at it and you think, well, why is this not working? What's the system for having it? Because here's the thing, business is just a collection of habits. Businesses are an extension of you as a person. And as the saying goes, we don't get what we want in life, we get our habits, right? And, what was it, in Atomic Habits, he says, your business will only, your business doesn't rise to the level of your goals, it falls to the level of your systems. And the thing that I like to add to that is your business can only get as big as your ability to handle the challenge and will always fall to the level of your systems. So one of the most critical parts about a system, particularly from the point of view of it should be producing, and what parts aren't engaged. So what are we doing that's actually not part of the system? So we're seeing things that are happening that shouldn't be. So contrast is an important concept, but nobody talks about this. It's just like, what's a great analogy? Well, darkness is the absence of light. There is no dark switch. When you leave the room, you don't turn off the light. When you turn off the light, you don't turn on the dark switch. So great systems can show you where it's dark. Success in business is a function of having the depth of value that you create and your ability to communicate it. And that's it. That's all. And I'm going to create a real big paradigm shift for everybody in this call, because systems are actually a communication tool, not an activity. And not an activity tool. Systems are a communication tool, a way of getting everybody to do the right things at the right time in the right way. Remember my diagram from before, my model? You can teach this stuff without systems and trust that your education systems will have everybody doing the right thing at the right time, but they don't. So pilots have checklists, surgeons have checklists. They all have communication tools to make everybody do it, at the operating time they don't do. And thankfully they do, because less than a month ago, I had some work done on my heart. So thank God they were using their checklists and systems. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here talking with you. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk about, and this is where, here we go. I'll just change the video back to our iPad now. My iPad, I should say. So what I wanted to say now is I'd just like to share with you some insights that I see across in the entire market of businesses I work with. So you'll find your business in here somewhere. Now, what we see across a full range of businesses is a bit like a bell curve, right? So the bell curve is very real, and it's as true in businesses as it is in any other form of elite performance, right? So down here at the red level, what we've got is we've got a bunch of businesses. We've got a bunch of businesses that are in survival mode, right? They're in survival mode. And when we look at businesses at that performance curve, you know, what we actually see, there's a lot of up and down bumps. Most of them are down, and they're not having great business results, right? And it's a really unhappy place to be. Now, some of you, I'm sure nobody here is in that place, but some of you will know people that are in that, you know. But here's the thing, is the thing that's really holding people back in that business is bottlenecks. And I hate to say this, but the bottleneck's always at the top of the bottle, so it could be you, right? Anyway, we'll talk about it later, right? Okay, so, you know, I suspect that you're not at that level, but how would it feel when you're in that situation down there? But, you know, then what happens is the bell curve then says that there's a whole lot of businesses that are average and they're in the middle. And there's a lot of businesses and they're not going forward, but they're kind of stationary. And when they're stationary, you know, it's not an unhappy place to be, but they're not too excited about it either, right? Does that make sense? Put in the chat that, you know, business people all know business, they're running, they're not really moving forward, but they're not moving backwards. Just put a yes in the chat if you know someone who has a business like that. It could even be yours, right? So the business is stationary because they haven't focused on thinking about doing things that should happen automatically. So the things that so the idea here is the idea to move through this is to extract that DNA of repeatability that we're talking about, how to make the business work. So what makes the business happen again and again and again? Right now, you know, some of you may have your businesses partly in that. Some of your folks know people that are there, but you know, what's the feeling like? Is it frustrating? You know, it's like spinning your wheels. It's like you're just treading water. But once you extract the DNA of repeatability and you move into this green section, and we call these systems, right, is then essentially where we're getting to a level where the business is now scalable. And the interesting thing is, because a lot of people see that this is the ultimate goal. So, you know, you go to businesses, conferences, everyone's talking about, oh, you know, scale this, scale that. And, you know, the curve is definitely steeper here, but it's just kind of incremental, right? So it's a happy place. It's a happy place, but here's the thing, because it just means you've done what you've meant to have done, which is to make it repeatable with a decreasing cost of execution and increasing speed. So, you know, that's what scalability is. How does that feel? And there might be parts of your business that are in there as well, but how did it get there? Now, the key here is to organize what you've extracted into your systems and processes, and we talked to them being sexy and all that sort of thing, to organize what you've extracted. And every business rises and falls on leadership, right? And your business is nothing more than an amplification of who you are as a person, which I said before. But to create the time and space for you to be the leader, the business needs you to be, first of all, you need to be the manager that you need to be. We manage the visible and we lead the invisible. And until you make the repeatability of your business visible, and it's too bad I'm turning the camera because I'm pointing my finger at all of you, right? Until you make the repeatability of your business visible with documented systems that people can pick up, turn over, look at, upside down, twist around from side to side, until you make that visible, you are not managing. And as long as you're not managing what's going to consume your thinking time, which doesn't leave any room for thinking. But if you organize things so that you can manage it, it allows you to jump this line And when you jump that line, you're going to get to this dark green thing, and you can move into the next level where your business is now saleable. And when I say it's saleable, that doesn't mean you have to. Okay, this is where you've got exponential growth that's happening, and it's going in, day out. And this is a really happy place to be. Right. So, what would it be if you could get your business there right now? So if I draw, most people use the word optimization with no clue of what it is, because the real part of what's happening here is optimization. It's finding out where your systems need to be worked on and all that sort of things. But if I draw a scale here and call this 1 and this 10, 6, 5, 3, 4, 2, 8, 7, 9, on that scale, just put in the chat where you think your business is at the moment. Are you down here where you're in survival mode, where when you stop working, all the money stops coming in? Or you are up here in virtually a saleable mode? Just put a number in the chat between 1 and 10 is where you think you are in that business on that curve. It's 1, Paul's down here in 1. Got lots of 1s. Hang on, here we go. Sorry, my message is going. Okay, so we've got 9. So Jeffrey's awesome. He's right up here at 9. So we're all going to buy Jeffrey's business. We've got 4s and 1s and 2s and 7s. So we've got a decent spread of what's going on here. Okay. So what we've then got is, this part of my mission. Part of my mission is that no one should be chained at their business, because what I want people to do is basically turn their business into an ATM, because the reality is most business owners are going to end up outliving the business, right? And this is what I do, and this is what Nick spoke about, And then, so it's really a bit like an iceberg. When I start talking about systems, what they come to me looking for software and tools. What should I use, and what tools should I use? Well, realistically, my response is, honestly, this is a really shallow conversation. And do you want to be shallow, or do you want to go deep? And obviously, we want to go a little bit deeper on that. So the conversation is it's like an iceberg, because what you see above the waterline is the top 10%. And this is where people, very true, Jeffrey, very true, right? They have a job that they own, mate. Right. And so what happens at this top 10%, people are looking at tools, and they're looking at techniques.
Just lost your screen there, Azim.
Sorry. I don't know how I did that. Okay. They're looking at tools, and thanks for that, Nick. Looking at tools, they're looking at techniques, and, then the other thing they might be looking at is they're looking at technology, which I've got there, so techniques. And here's the interesting thing. You can throw all those tools, techniques, and technology at it, and all the other sorts of things that we can do. But here's the thing, is it's all moving in this direction, but the iceberg is always going to move in the direction of the base. And that's where the power is. And that's what I really, we're talking about, is what's at the base. And what's at the base there is, can you imagine what's in the middle here? What's in the middle between the top and the base is essentially, we've got, some people talk about profit and all that sort of thing. But the three big things that we have in there is we have certainty, we have performance, and we have buy-in. Oops. Buy-in. Right. So firstly, certainty. So imagine if you could go to your business every day and have certainty about what was going to happen. How would that feel? Put that in the chat. How would it feel if you know what's going to happen in your business pretty much every day? I know how it feels for me. It feels great, right? But not many people have it, right? And so, but that's so far away from most people's experience. It's not funny, but if you could get to work every day and yeah, absolutely, it would be wonderful, right? In fact, you could take that 6-week vacation and have certainty about how the business is going to ride your way. But then the second key thing here that is certainty is around a high level of performance, right? that any of your competitors or contemporaries have in their business. So, you know, if you went away, I go 7 months, lovely, right? So if you went away and you knew that you took the 6-week vacation with the certainty that your business will perform at a higher level than any of your contemporaries or competitor, how's that going to feel? I like Paul with that. It's impossible. I have a different presentation that I do where it's called It's Impossible Unless, and we can talk about that later. Okay. And then, you know, how would that feel? And the third thing with your people is having the people in your business, even if they're VAs, is absolute buy-in. And what do I mean by that? So how would it feel if you went on a 6-week vacation, you had certainty about your business being able to perform at a higher level than your competitors, and you knew that the people that are back there doing that for you are absolutely protecting that with a vengeance on your behalf? How would that feel? So these are the important things. So, you know, well, you know, they're the 3 most important things. So I believe that amazing entrepreneurs, you know, heroic people like ourselves, right? You know, people that are risk takers, people that have stepped out of the illusion of security that employment creates and decide they're going to create jobs, contribute, like, you know, I reckon that we deserve to be complete. You know, we have to emphasize that we get complete business reliability. And here's the thing, isn't that what we all want? Because if we can do it for 6 weeks, then why not for 6 months? And the framework that I use for this is obviously systemology. So here's the interesting thing, is people say you can't predict the future, but you actually can. Because as we sit here today, or stand here today on the, it's the 7th of the 3rd, 23. And I can tell you for sure that in a year's time, and I'll put money on it, that it'll be the 7th of the 3rd, 24. And here's the other thing I know. I also know that you're going to be in one of 2 futures. You're either going to be following a red line down, and you'll be in survival mode. And that's a function of drift, which is just doing the same thing and hoping to get, you know, keep moving and not watching what's happening around and all those wonderful things. If you want to read a great book about drift, Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil, excellent book. Long story behind it, but audio version is even better, right? Or you're going to be up on the green line and you're going to have a saleable business. So remember the bell curve that we talked about later? But it's a function of, basically it's a function of decisions and actions. See, there is a third line, which is the thing, is basically, well, let's try some SEO. Oh, that's not working too well. Let's try to do a local promotion. And then, oh, let's try ChatGPT. Let's see how that goes for us. And then let's try something else and then do this and put on more teams and do some local marketing. And, you know, in a year's time, you'll probably be exactly where you are today, right? And realistically, if you're not tackling the repeatability of your business, which is, and you know, this wiggly amber line is just another version of the red line, right? So tackling the repeatability of your business is what we call a green line decision, and not tackling it. So this is a green line decision, right? And not tackling it is red line drift. And, you know, it's pretty obvious that if you wait 12 months before you start doing something about this, that these lines here are just going to get further apart, right? And addressing it down the track is going to be harder, riskier, and more expensive. And imagine if that was your competitor, then you're done, right? So your first decision is very simple. Your first decision is what? We want to jump on the green line. And here's the thing. Right now, if you're going to make that decision, you are as close as we're ever going to be to that green line as we stand here today on the 7th of March, right? So the first stage of getting out of the green line is always involves some cleanup and a bit of a reset. And it sometimes not comfortable. We sometimes have to let people go and all that sort of thing, or get people on board and let go of stuff we really know. because, you know, you've got to have to stop doing some stuff that are now habits in the business. You're going to have to start doing some new habits, right? In fact, I guarantee it. Reset's like going on a diet. No one likes it, but you can't avoid it, right? I want you to understand that the decision you're making here, jumping this line, the first thing is going to be a reset, because the future can't happen. This can't happen for you without a reset, right? And as I said, I use the systemology framework to help clients through this. And, you know, if you really want to dig into this, it can happen as soon as 30 days, depending on where your business, but often, you know, it's 180 days. It really can get your business in shape, depending on where it is right now. You know, so how would that feel? And as we go through, we draw some gates so we can keep on thinking. Because here's the important thing. You don't fall off the green line, you behave your way off the green line. And, you know, but there's a vertical that I haven't explored. And the vertical is this. What happens if you get a debilitating illness? What happens if a pandemic hits and shuts you down in lockdown? That could be a vertical red line that completely destroys your business, right? And so the only insurance you have, I can stop this share now. Yep. Sorry, just change the video back to me. So the only insurance you have against anything like that, vertical lapse, it's through illness or anything else, the insurance is repeatability. It's the green line repeatability of your business, that it will continue to deliver what you deliver at the decreasing cost of execution and increasing speed. The green line is the thing that protects you against this. So it turns out that systems are your best insurance policy you can have for your business. People take out directors' insurance protection to protect themselves against compliance breach and all that sort of thing. Just build freaking systems that will protect yourself against that compliance breach. You know, people do all sorts of marketing strategies to try and insure themselves against poor customer experience and failed sales and things like that. Just build good systems as your insurance policy. So the only controllable insurance policy you could possibly have is the one that you build yourself, which is your systems. Every other insurance policy somebody else owns and is driven by their profit, not yours. The only insurance policy that's driven by your profit is your systems. As I like to say, your turnover is your vanity, your profit is your sanity, and the bank and the money in the bank, cash in the bank, is the reality. So your first green line decision is to make that appointment, which I think Nick is going to drop a link to spend 45 minutes a week for everyone who's live on the call tonight. I'm going to talk to you about your business, nothing to sell. I'm going to talk to you about your business and see what needs to happen with your business. So that's a freebie on me, so to speak. And I'll isolate what your biggest problem is in your business. And it's often not what you think. So we'll also tackle what your biggest question is. And as I like to say, if you can't have your cake and eat it, then what the hell's the point of cake? Thanks, Nick.
Fantastic. Well, I can tell you, I was scribbling down a whole lot of notes there as well too. And I don't know what it's like for everyone else, but I wasn't as far up that curve as I wanted to be. So I guess there's always room for improvement, isn't there? We've got a couple of minutes for questions or comments. Anyone got any questions or clarifications for Azim? So if you do, just unmute yourself and ask away, or put your hand up like Aldrin has. So Aldrin, you're first.
Hi, I really love that. Now, it really made me reflect on my, so-called business, I guess. I call it a business. I've been doing what I've been doing for 20 years, and I've had a lot of trouble letting go, I must say. It's really, your presentations made me think about trust and why that's so. I've had subcontractors, I've had VAs, etc. And trust is a massive thing. So my question is, for anyone who has trust issues, which I'm sure, I'm probably the only one here that has trust issues, but, for anyone that does have trust issues, what are some ways to overcome that so we can let go of these parts of our business and build the team?
Well, here's the thing, Aldwin, when I do this work with people, as you know, and we worked together many years ago on your business in the early stages, the answer is, and it sounds like a broken record, but the answer is the system. The answer is, and the system can be as easy as this. And I did one today with somebody. I just got them to describe how they wanted something put into their CRM. And they just started up Zoom and they described it. They narrated it as they went. And then after it all, she said, well, so what you're saying is I should make a recording of that, and that's like a training. I said, well, we just did, because I was recording it while she was telling me. And then there's so many tools around, there's audit.ai. So then you can have a transcript of that. And you just perform it the way you want it performed. And then you can video it, then you can, like just using Zoom, then you can pull the text out of it. So then you've got a step-by-step process. And when you're happy with that and it's clear enough, then the first trust that you've got to get, Alban, and this is where the real issue is you have to trust yourself, right? You have to be 100% confident that you can do the job to the best, to what the standard you want. Because often trust becomes when you hold other people to a standard higher than what you hold yourself. I told you it was going to be uncomfortable. Bottleneck's always at the top of the bottle. So if you've got systems and if I were to come to your business and follow these steps of following up on quotes that you're giving on PR or booking you the next appointment and all that thing, and that comes back to what are the things that only Alban can do, that Alban really needs to do. I don't want people to leave their businesses because you only retire from jobs you hate, okay? I want people to lean into that 10%, which is the magic that is Alban, and let all the other stuff that needs to be done, the bookings, the follow-ups, let that stuff be systemized and be done by. But Alban should be going out and being Alban.
Yeah, which I do. However, Alban's doing way too much in her business, and so I absolutely love what I do, which is why I've been doing it for so long. However, I realize I've also had a bit of a perfectionist streak, and I've had this story that I'm no good at systems. And I think, as you said, just keep it really simple and just explain it how you explain it, because I guess systems can always be tweaked, can't they?
Well, absolutely, and that's what the optimized stage is. And the reality is the way you do it may not be the best way to do it. And usually when I work with people, the first thing we do is we just want to capture what's going on today. And when we talk about systems, people think of McDonald's. I don't care how you want to fold the toilet paper in your washrooms. I care about capturing the 20% of the systems that make 80% of your revenue. And that's where we start. All the others is just stuff, right? And here's a really interesting thing is, I was helping a guy buy a business in New Zealand last year. We spoke in the manufacturing sector and we spoke to 9 different businesses, and one was leaving for health problems, but the other 8 all had a version of this. If you buy my business, I'd be happy to work for you guys for as long as you need me. They just wanted to go back to doing the thing, right? They didn't want the following up of quotes. They didn't want the managing the staff members and all that sort of thing. So trust is about, can you explain what you want done clearly enough that I wouldn't be able to make a mistake? And the idea to do that is to record yourself doing it. That's your starting point. And that's what we call extracting the system.
Wonderful. Thank you, Azim.
No trouble.
Fantastic. Probably got time for one more question. If we've got one more question here, just pop your hand up.
Can I give people a quick tip, Nick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, because it just follows on from what Alban is saying. A lot of people say, I don't know whether I can afford to have a VA or a team member. That would be a fair comment. You would have heard that too, Nick, from some of the people.
All the time.
Right? So here's a thing that I use with all of my clients and just happy to share it with everybody, is what we do is this. We call it Employee X. And we open a bank account. And I learned this from Mike McAllowitz, right? We open a bank account and we pay into that bank account weekly or monthly, whatever your pay period is, the exact amount, including holiday pay and everything, that you would be paying that staff member. At the end of night, there's nobody there, right? But you can't do it on a spreadsheet. You have to physically take the money out of account and put it in this other account. At the end of 90 days, you will know whether your business can afford that person or not. And then here's the other bonus. You've just got 3 months salary put aside for them. And here's the next bonus is you've just spent 90 days paying someone to do nothing. Okay. And if you know you really need to have that person and you can't, and you've realized that was a bit of a stretch, well, you haven't lost the money for a start because it's in that bank account. And the second thing is you can go, okay, what do we need to do to make sure that that is affordable for us moving forward? So that's the simplest way, and we use it. I've got clients who are still paying in for Employee X for their next employee, and they've got thousands of dollars stashed away. But that's the easiest way to figure out, because that's usually the biggest question. I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford a team member or even a VA because business is up and down and all that sort of thing. That's a really simple way to figure it out.
Awesome. That's great. I hadn't heard of that before, but what a great way of doing it. All right. Well, that is all we've got time for, sadly. That was such a good presentation. Really enjoyed that. So thanks for coming in and sharing with us tonight, Azim. Just remember, everyone, there is that link in the chat there. If you want to take advantage of that and have a chat with Azim about your business and some possibilities there, go and book that now. And it's free, I think, too, isn't it, Azim?
Yeah, that session, 45 minutes, everyone who's on the call tonight, I'm happy to spend and talk about, your business specifically and what it is. And I just saw a comment from Jeff, absolutely, Jeff, it is an investment because investing in getting yourself out of the business, right?
Fantastic. Yeah, no, absolutely is. All right, now we do have a door prize as well, too, a lucky door prize, don't we? Do you want to tell us what that is? And while you're doing that, we've got one of my team are going to bring up the way that we draw it. So tell us what the door prize is first.
Okay, so what I'm giving a 2-hour session where I'm really going to help somebody with their business. And if I was normally doing that, that'd be around about the $1,500 plus mark to do that. So we're really going to drill into your business. We're going to find out where the real issues are, and I'm going to set you on the path to systemizing your business the best way possible and do that. And that's totally on me. There's no upsell after it. So I'm just going to give you that time. So that's our door prize.
Fantastic. What's the value of that?
It's over $1,500, Nick.
So it's not something you're just throwing away. It's actually something of real
No,
value.
there's always an exchange of value, but nothing I'm throwing away.
Indeed. Excellent. All right. Well, the way we draw it is we have up on screen our wheel of names. Can you see the wheel of names?
Yep.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So everybody's name is in here. The way the rules of this game works is we're going to spin the wheel shortly, and you have to be in the room to win. So if you've departed early, then we just go and redraw it again. Anyone that's here, if that happens, you are welcome to go and tell that person that they disappeared too early. All right. So let's go and spin that wheel. So virtual drum roll, please. And the winner is Nathan Terry. Fantastic. Well done, mate.
Thank you very much.
So Nathan, you're on the call there. Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. So
thank you.
So yeah, well, in fact, what a perfect way to start, because you're reasonably new in business, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, that's perfect. We'll get you before you get spoilt, Nathan.
Good. Yeah. Appreciate that. Look forward to it. It's going to be very exciting for me. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah, so what we'll do tomorrow is I'll intro you both. Well, one of my team will intro you both with emails and phone numbers and stuff, and then you can connect with each other and organise your session.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Great.
All right, for the rest of us, if we unshare, you've done that. Rest of us, if you've enjoyed tonight's presentation, and there were some nuggets of gold, there were lots of nuggets of gold and diamond in that particular session, it will be up on the Smash Go YouTube channel tomorrow afternoon, so you can go and watch it again. So we'll drop a link. In fact, the link is already in chat for that. If you're not a subscriber of the channel, go and subscribe to it. And when you do subscribe, hit the little bell to the right-hand side of the subscribe button, which appears after you've clicked it. And then you'll get a notification as soon as that video has been uploaded, the replay has been uploaded. And feel free to share that with anyone else. If you've enjoyed it, feel free to share that with other people as well too. And of course, we'll be back here again next week, same time, same place, next week. But for now, just want to thank Azim for coming on to the show tonight and sharing with us tonight. So let's give him a big, warm round of applause to thank him for tonight. Awesome. And so for the rest of us, thanks everyone for showing up and coming along to Business Owners Smashing Online. Of course, these sessions are always better if we share it with other colleagues, friends, and people we know. So feel free to spread the word and invite others along as well too. And go and have a sensational evening. But before you go, let's just click those 3 little dots at the bottom of chat and save that to your computer. And then you will have all of those links in chat there that you can go and click on and visit the apps, go and book a session with Azim, and go and scroll through some of those conversations that people have left in chat as well too. So apart from that, it is just left up to me to say good night. Thank you for coming. We'll see you back next week. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Business Owners Smashing It Online podcast. You can also find me on social media and online. Just search for Business Owners Smashing It Online and Nick Cree, spelled Nikcree, all one word. If you like this and want to hear more, subscribe now. Until next time, don't be a slave to your business. Get your business working for you.